Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Rose, your PMDD relationship expert. So I have personally been suffering with PMDD for over 15 years and spent all of that time desperately trying to navigate my intimate relationships. So I'm now married to an amazing PMDD partner thanks to my PMDD specific tools that I've learned over the years that I integrate within my relationship. And now I am here to share them all with you and your PMDD partner. Each week, I'll be providing women with PMDD and their partners with my signature PMDD Trauma Transformational Tools on how to effectively navigate an intimate relationship while having PMDD. This is all so you can avoid the cycle of fighting with your partner or even breaking up with them every single month. And you can finally have the peaceful assurance that you can have a supportive relationship while you have PMDD. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. Now let's get into your weekly dose of PMDD relationship tools. So today we're going to be talking about something really, really exciting that I've been wanting to share with you. And that is 5 ways to increase intimacy with your PMDD partner. We're specifically talking about all of the difficulties that us women with PMDD and our partners experience because we have so many PMDD symptoms that make us not even want to be touched. So I know that when you're sleep deprived, when you have insomnia, PMDD fatigue, all of these muscle soreness and tightness in your body, it's really hard for you to want to be intimate with your partner. It's kind of like you instinctively just want them to not touch you. You want them to go away. And when your partner feels that, when they feel that you don't want to be touched by them, that can be a form of rejection and they can start to get really, really insecure. But what that does, and then that gives you, the women with PMDD, you begin to feel so much guilt and shame for feeling like a bad partner for rejecting them. And one of the things that I want to let you know that you need to understand is your partner's attachment style. So this is how they attach themselves to you, how they feel connected to you, and it's different for everyone. So the first thing we're going to do when we're talking about intimacy is we're going to go over these specific attachment styles. And I don't know if before you're dating or if you're married and before when you were in relationships, have you noticed that you maybe jumped from relationship to relationship every few months and you're kind of wondering why you can't find the perfect partner for you while you're in PMDD? It's kind of like they can't handle some of your symptoms, so you stop dating them and then you go to date with somebody else, but then you find something wrong with them, or then you have a partner and then they're just not emotionally available to you. So this can all be related to the attachment that your partner has and what you need. You may be finding yourself that you're wanting to attach to your partner in a way that they don't want to be attached to. So you kind of have to get on the same page with that. And so I'm going to go over the attachment styles, and then you can kind of figure out within yourself what sounds most familiar, because when I deal with clients, I specifically work with their attachment style and then the specific attachment style of their partner, because that really is going to increase the intimacy on how you can connect if you know your partner's attachment style. So let's first talk about the avoidant attachment style. So people with this attachment style see intimacy as a loss of independence. They're very independent person. They see like wanting to be closer to someone as losing their independence. If you feel like if I do certain things with them and I don't have enough me time, then I'm just gonna lose myself. They don't want to define themselves by being with their partner. They kind of still want to have their own life, and it kind of scares them if their partner has a different attachment style and they're wanting to do everything with them. It can be very overwhelming for someone that has an avoidant attachment style because they see dependence or needing others as a sign of weakness. So they subconsciously tend to find faults in all of their relationships, and they avoidant attachments want to be close, but they push their potential partners away as a means of protecting themselves because they just can't see themselves fully depending on someone else. In their mind, that's the opposite of what they want. It's like they want to be close, but they don't want to be too close. So that's the first attachment style that can really affect when you're dealing with a partner in PMDD, because if you have another attachment style, which is like an anxious attachment style, which is the next one, then when those two attachment styles coincide, that's when there's going to be issues. So the anxious attachment style is someone who craves physical and emotional closeness. They somehow fear that they're not good enough. They're maybe feeling a little bit insecure internally, and they often worry about being betrayed or left by their partner. They may feel like if their partner's going to the store or their partner's going to do something with their friends, like they may feel like, oh, they're going to forget about me, or I'm not good enough. So being pushed away by their partner can actually make them feel more anxious and increase their clinginess. So if you are a person who has an avoidant attachment style, which is I've had clients where one has an avoidant attachment style and then one has an anxious attachment style. As the anxious attachment style, that particular partner going closer to the person that has the avoidant is going to want to push them away because their clinginess is going to become too much for them, and the avoidant is going to want to be single. They're going to say, this is too much, this is too overwhelming for me. And when you're specifically going through PMDD and you have all of those symptoms going on, you want to ensure that that you know how to navigate your partner's attachment style. Because if your partner is being really clingy and you're just wanting to isolate yourself to deal with your PMDD symptoms, you may start to think, oh my goodness, I shouldn't be with this person because I can't get any peace while I'm in PMDD. But what the cause is that they actually have an anxious attachment style, and that if you pushing them away, it's making them get more clingy. So what we want to get you all towards is a secure attachment style. So people with this attachment style are very comfortable with intimacy. They're reliable and trustworthy. They can be comfortable with each other. They can be comfortable knowing that their partner's going to go out and hang out with their friends and they don't feel insecure. They can be comfortable with, if your partner tells you, oh, I just want to spend some time alone, you don't take that as they don't want to be with you. You don't take things personally. You understand that, sometimes people need time for themselves. And sometimes when you're in PMDD and you may want time for yourself, then that may be like, I just want this time for myself without my partner feeling like I'm cheating on them or them accusing me of something. And so when I work with clients to getting to that secure attachment style, it's basically understanding what their attachment currently is and getting them to the point of getting to that secure place. So we're going to talk about 5 ways to really increase that intimacy. But first, before we get into the 5 ways, I want to talk to you about your sex life with your PMDD partner. So I know that your sex life can be different, and for everyone can navigate a different kind of sex life as far as frequency. So we're not talking about how many times a week that you have sex is healthy and how many times a month. It's not about the number. It's about the amount of intimacy that it creates with you and your partner. So I know specifically with my partner, when we have sex, it is a form of feeling closer to me. So it's not so much about the act itself. And I remember earlier in my journey, when I would get into PMDD and my partner would want to have sex, I would feel like they were being so selfish, because why would you want me to have sex with you while I'm in PMDD? I have all of these symptoms going on. I barely slept. My body is aching. I'm going through all these things, and you want me to give you sex. I looked at it as my partner wanting to take something from me. And when I really did the work, which is the same work that I do with my clients, is you have to reframe your mind regarding sex when you have PMDD. Because if you look at it like your partner is trying to take something from you, then you're going to begin to resent your partner when they want to have sex with you, when they want to feel close to you. Okay, so the first way that you do this, and if you want to have a better sex life, you have to reframe your mindset. Don't work on having more sex. So have you ever been in PMDD and your partner, that your partner wants to have sex with you, and you kind of just give in, just being like, okay, I don't want to deal with this disappointment. I don't want to deal with this guilt anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And then you begin to, number one, you regret it, right? Because you feel like you're forcing yourself to do something that you really don't want to do. You may feel like your skin is crawling, right? I had a client that actually had a panic attack after having sex with their partner because they forced themselves to do it and they just wanted it to hurry up and get it over with. And they're just like, okay, just go ahead and do it. Well, the issue is when you're in love with your partner, when your partner is in love with you, the act of you having sex because you're being forced to, because you feel like you have to, does not create the connection that your partner is wanting. So it's counterproductive to force yourself to have sex when you really don't want to. That is not the answer. So the answer is not to give your partner sex just to check the block and say, okay, I did it. That doesn't help because the connection isn't there. So the first thing I do with my clients is we take sex off of the table, right? So we don't focus on if your partner is saying, mentioning timeframes as far as like, we only have sex 2 times a month, 3 times a month, 4 times a month, and then you feel the need to increase that by saying, okay, I'm going to try to do it once a week so that, my partner can feel better about it. No, it's not about having sex more times during the week. Because if you don't fully connect, if you don't have that intimacy, then the whole purpose of your partner having sex with you, your partner is never going to be satisfied because they're never going to feel fulfilled. So don't work on having more sex, work on having more intimacy and see sex as an extension of that. So the first thing I do is we take sex off the table to reduce the pressure that you feel while you're in PMDD and just work on being more intimate with your PMDD partner. So a lot of times when we hear the word intimacy, we're like, what does that mean? Are you talking about, those romantic movies? It's different for everyone. Intimacy is different for everyone. It's about how you feel closer to your partner. So maybe you let them rub your back. Maybe you let them stroke your hair, let them run you a bath, cook for each other, eat together, laugh together, do all the things that don't necessarily have to do with sex, all of the things that you did earlier in your relationship that made you fall in love with your PMDD partner. Start doing those things again, and the sex will come. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to have sex with your PMDD partner, thinking that that's what's going to be the cure for you not feeling guilty about not having sex with them, but that doesn't make you feel more closer to them. Think about when you first started dating your partner. What were the things that made you fall in love with them? What were the things that made you feel the most at ease? So when we're talking about intimacy, it's a calmness, it's a closeness, it's a safeness. And when you feel like your partner is not forcing you, but really wanting you to have sex, and you feel like you're just disappointing them because they're starting to act differently. And so you're feeling like, well, if I just have sex with them, maybe they'll be more loving, they'll be more caring towards me. Maybe they'll give me a break and let me just have some time for myself. If you're thinking like that, then you're thinking of your partner as not your partner. You're not together. You're not in it. You're not trying to get closer to your partner. You're actually trying to push your partner away so that you can just have time for you and your PMDD symptoms and to go through the hell that we go through. But if you take sex off of the table and think about those specific things that your partner did for you, where you just felt so loved, so cared for, so protected, those are the things that you need to bring back into your relationship in order to get your sex life where it's comfortable, not just for your partner, but also for you too. So this past weekend, that is exactly what me and my PMDD partner did. We got away for the weekend. We really unplugged, literally unplugged, had no internet at this lake house. And we just went there for the weekend because I know in the past we are in a long distance. Let me just preface that first. We are in a long distance marriage. So I'm living in one place and he's living in another. So a lot of times that brings a lot of difficulties with when we do spend time together. There used to be that pressure of, oh, I need to make sure. It's self-inflicted. I used to always be like, I need to make sure I have sex with him when I see him. And some of the times when we would schedule the visits, they would be when I was in PMDD, and I would feel like, oh my goodness, I have to do this. I have to do this. And I was literally making myself anxious. So by the time he got to me, I was just like, okay, let's just do it. Let's just get this over with. And he was just like, whoa. And I know a lot of the times, like, he was like, okay, we can do, you know what I mean? Like, he was like, we can do this, but he didn't feel connected to me. He didn't feel like I was loving him. I was so distracted, so anxious, so tense that I just really just wanted to hurry up and get it over with. And it was a horrible experience. And I was just like, you know what, this weekend, let's just work on our intimacy. And I kind of just said, you know, one of his love languages is physical touch. And being long distance is kind of hard for us to express that because we're always apart. So words of affirmation is kind of what we use in that place because we're long distance. But this weekend, we, in my mind, so what I had to do was reframe my mind in regards to sex, and just say, you know what, I'm taking it off the table, whether we do it or not. I'm just going to focus on loving him, just enjoying myself around him. One of the things that we love to do is like listen to music and just laugh and joke. And he likes to fish. So he took his fishing rod out there by the lake, and we just like to eat good food. And you know, so I just told myself that's all we're going to do. I just said, we're just going to go and enjoy each other. And me relaxing and just not feeling pressured by myself, self-inflicted, by me not telling myself again and again and again, I need to have sex with him. I need to have sex with him. I need to be a good partner. I need to be a good wife. I need to do, by me calming my mind down and reframing what I was going there to do, caused us to go there. And we had, I would say, I'm pretty sure he would agree, like the best sex of our whole relationship. I mean, even more than in the beginning, because our connection is deeper. We've been through more things. You know, the more you go through with a person, with your partner, the hard stuff, it makes you more connected. So that intimacy is always growing by what you're going through. So that's why I say the sex was probably the best of our whole relationship. And it all started about reframing how I thought about sex. It was no longer about I'm giving a gift to my partner. It was like I'm giving a gift to us. It felt really good to feel loved, to feel touched, to not feel pressured. You know, I wanted to get rid of the guilt of not being a good partner, the guilt from shutting my partner down for sex, the guilt of allowing my PMDD symptoms to not make me want to be touched at all. Like all of that is guilt and it's tension, and it's not going to create that intimacy with your partner because they're going to feel that. It's going to be like a wall, a big wall of tension that they're going to constantly be coming against. And there was so much pent up guilt and bitterness towards PMDD. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but you can literally have bitterness towards PMDD itself because you can think to yourself, PMDD is taking away something else from me. Like once again, it's robbing me of something that I enjoy. You know, when you're in your good days and you're feeling good about yourself, you're feeling good about your body and all of these things, and then all of a sudden PMDD comes and you get that body dysmorphia and you start to look at your body and you start to see yourself as being not attractive. All of that is connected to the intimacy that you have with your partner. Because if you're not feeling like you're comfortable in your own skin, you're not going to feel comfortable bearing your skin to your partner. You're not going to want them to see those insecurities that you really, really feel deep down while you're going through that body dysmorphia with PMDD. So what I was feeling before was that PMDD was taking the closeness that I felt so strongly when I was not in PMDD, and I wanted it back. I wanted it back. I wanted to take back the intimacy that I felt before from PMDD. I wanted to feel that ease and that play with my partner. And I wanted to see my partner happy again. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but when your partner feels loved, when they feel wanted, when they feel desired, when they feel safe, they look differently to you. Just seeing my partner be so happy and so free, and knowing that it was because of me. It was because I was loving them the way they wanted to be loved. And it wasn't pressured. It was very natural because I felt so comfortable, because I let down my guard and just said, I'm just going to love on them. And so that's where the intimacy was. The intimacy was when I got in the car and we're holding hands, or when we're just sitting at the lake and we're just, looking at each other lovingly. And I know, one thing I do know about my partner, and I know this is probably true for all of your PMDD partners too, is that when you put them first and you decide to connect with them, they're going to do the same thing in return. They're going to put you first. They're going to want to do more for you when they feel loved. So it's not a matter of them wanting sex from you to take something from you. It's they're wanting to give something to you. They're wanting to give you their love through the act of sex. It's not about them just having an orgasm because they want to please themselves. It's about they want you to have an orgasm. They want you to be pleased. They want you to be relaxed. And I don't know if you've ever had an amazing orgasm where all of the tension just releases from your body. It's almost like if you were shrugging your shoulders and you were holding them up, and then you just let them drop and you just let them down and you just breathe, and you feel like a rush of anxiety, adrenaline, all of those things. It's just out of your body. And you feel so relaxed and you feel so calm and you feel so loved. It's a loving act towards yourself to even have an orgasm. And that's a whole nother episode. But I just want you to know that reframing your mind to think about sex with your PMDD partner is not them taking something from you. It's not something that you have to do. It's something that you get to do. And you get to do it to be that supportive partner to your partner and to allow them to be that way to us, because we go through a lot during PMDD and our partners are there for us. And we cannot completely starve our partners of love and intimacy and then chastise them or scold them for acting unlovingly towards us when they don't feel loved and wanted. So if you've ever dealt with your partner and you said, oh my goodness, they're acting like this, they're acting like that, so unloving. Well, if they don't feel loved, it's way easier for little things, little arguments to happen, little tidbits, little things that they could probably brush off, but they won't. And then they'll start to blame stuff on you. See, this is why you're doing this. See that, like getting really defensive and really blaming you because they're not feeling loved. And I guarantee you, if you do acts that allow your partner to feel loved, then the stuff that you go through in PMDD, it's going to be a lot more peaceful during your hell weeks with your intimate relationship. So I want to give you some tips, 5 specifically, on how to gain more intimacy and ultimately more sex with your PMDD partner that you actually enjoy, that you actually look forward to, that it's not about keeping score. So I'm not even going to put a number on it. I'm not going to say this is 5 ways for you to have sex 5 days a week, although that's a very, cute title. I'm not going to put a number on it because it's about what feels good to you. It could be one time. And the rest of the time you just spend time enjoying each other and you watch Netflix or we played Taboo this weekend. We didn't have internet, so we literally played Taboo and it was so much fun. And it made me see my partner in a different light, just see him laughing and joking. It was very attractive, so we actually had sex after we played Taboo. It was very taboo, but it happened and it was amazing. But I'm going to give you 5 ways to increase that intimacy. The number one thing is you need to understand what you need in your PMDD partnership, not what your partner needs for you to do, but what do you specifically need? So if you know that we talked about having that avoidant attachment style where you kind of see clinging onto your partner as a bad thing, if you see getting closer to them as a bad thing and you're kind of more of an independent person, then do you need more space when you're in PMDD? Like, do you need them to just check in with you and kind of, let you do your thing? Or if you're that anxious attachment style, do you need them to give you more attention? Do you need them to be more attentive to you in a specific way? These are questions that you need to ask yourself, and then you sit down and communicate those to your partner so that they understand how to serve you when you're in PMDD, how to be there for you, how to be supportive. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't know what you need when you're in PMDD, your partner's not going to know. And it's going to be frustrating for them, because I know a lot of PMDD partners that I've talked to, they want to help. They want to help us. But if they don't know how, and they start to feel like they're helpless, like they're not needed, it's more frustrating. Some of them would even say, okay, well, if I can't make you better, if I can't help you, if I can't be closer to you during PMDD to like be that support system, then maybe we shouldn't be together. You know, a lot of partners have that sense of service. They want to serve you. And if we don't set them up for success by telling them specifically how to serve us, they may want to leave, because the thought of seeing you in pain and they're not doing anything about it can be too much to bear. And if you think about that, that is a really painful thing, to see your partner in pain, see them suffering, want to do so much for them, but you just can't, because you don't know what to do, and everything you try to do seems like it's the wrong thing. And then your partner gets irritated with you because you think they want more attention. So you start to be closer to them, but they're really an avoidant. They really want less attention. So the more that you come forward, the more they're angry, they're irritated. No, you're not, that doesn't make you get closer together. It makes you go further apart. So you really need to understand what it is that you need, and then communicate back to your partner. So the next thing you need to do is be in tune to when your attachment system might be activated. So I know for my specific partner, he has an anxious attachment style, and I have more of an avoidant when I'm in PMDD. When I'm not in PMDD, I have a secure attachment style. So let's be clear in that you can have two separate attachment styles, one when you're in PMDD and one when you're not. And I will talk to you in another episode about the different shifts that happen, how you have to navigate your intimate relationship with your PMDD partner when you're in PMDD and when you're not, because there's specifics to that. But specifically for the attachment style, when I'm in PMDD, I'm more of an avoidant. I just kind of want to stay to myself, and just kind of do my own thing, because I feel like I'm going through so much and I don't want to take it out on my partner. I don't want to spread any of the negativity that I feel inside. Like sometimes I feel angry, sometimes I feel depressed, sometimes I feel anxious, like all of these things. And I try to keep it to myself so that I don't affect other people. So me being avoidant makes him anxious. It makes him insecure. It makes him jealous. It makes him start to ask questions, because he starts to wonder, well, if you don't want to spend time with me, who do you want to spend time with? If you're not thinking about me, who are you thinking about? Like it always turns into this very anxious attachment style. And that used to be a trigger for me. I used to be like, I'm trying to go this way and you're coming towards me, like, go that way. I just wanted like space. And it was so hurtful for him, because as I was trying to get more time for myself just to deal with my PMDD, it made him feel not wanted. And so the intimacy really suffered with us, because when I came out of PMDD, I was wanting to go back to my normal secure attachment style. And he was just coming out of feeling unloved and unwanted and not desired and kind of put in a corner. So it made our intimacy very hard. And I felt the need to overdo it when I was not in PMDD, so that I could make up for how I was when I was in PMDD. So the second thing is to really understand when your attachment system might be activated, and learn to associate love with being calm. So what I had to do to shift that was, when I saw him coming towards me, instead of me going into my hole and getting to that avoidant attachment style, I had to be open and say, it's okay to let him in. It's going to be calm. Like, it's going to be a calm thing. It's not going to be, he's going to come in demanding things. He's going to come in expecting things. I just had to create that safe space in my mind of saying, okay, I'm going to let him in and it's going to be a good thing. And when I did, I let my guard down. And when I was more open and less avoidant during PMDD, he didn't get anxious. Therefore, he didn't trigger me. And we had way better hell weeks because when he would want to spend time and talk, if I gently told him, hey, I just need some time for myself right now, like I just want to, do this, but I said it lovingly versus snapping at him and saying, can you just leave me alone? Like when I said it in a loving way, he was more understanding, and he still felt loved. He just understood I was going through something. So it's all about communicating it to your partner before you get triggered, so that, or noticing when the trigger comes up and being able to say it lovingly versus trying to hold it in. Have you ever had your partner consistently trigger you and you're trying not to respond negatively? So you hold it in and you hold it in until one time you just explode with PMDD rage. And then they're just like, what the heck just happened? So as soon as you feel yourself being triggered with your attachment style, lovingly communicate that to your partner. The third thing is make yourself available to your partner, right? So you want to be consistent with the love that you give your partner when you are in PMDD and when you're not in PMDD. So you create, a lot of times what I do for my clients is I create these actions that you can do while you're in PMDD and while you're not, and it doesn't take too much out of you. So one of the things is I send my partner like a devotion in the morning, just like a loving little devotion that talks about our relationship. And I send it to him and it makes us feel connected. Throughout the day, I'll send loving texts. There are certain things that I make sure that I continuously do, whether I'm in PMDD or not, so that I'm giving him that consistent love and attention, so that he doesn't feel the need to be anxious and start getting clingy and then trigger my avoidant attachment style. So doing those little actions, and it's different for everyone. It's all about what your partner really appreciates and enjoys and their love language and all of those things. So the fourth thing is set aside time to communicate how you feel in the relationship. When you're happy, like when you're in your good days, make sure you're communicating that to your partner. Make sure you're letting them know the specific things that they're doing that's making you feel really good. Because if you don't tell them, you can't assume that they know, and then they won't continue them. So even when you're in PMDD, like I remember even this past weekend, I wanted to sleep in, and sometimes my partner wanted to cuddle in the morning, but sometimes when he would come to cuddle and be intimate, like it would wake me up and then I would lose sleep. So I'm like, man, so the next day when we were in like a really good mood, I told him, I'm like, hey babe, can you just let me sleep in tomorrow? Like I'm trying to catch up on my rest. And I said it lovingly while I was giving him attention. So the next morning, when he woke up, because he wakes up earlier than me, he went out to the dog, he walked the dog and he went fishing and he let me sleep. And I woke up rested, and then I came to him and I gave him hugs and kisses and all of this love. And so we both got what we wanted. He wanted love, attention, affection. And I wanted to get more sleep so that I felt available to give that to him, that I didn't feel depleted. And so many times I know in PMDD, we can feel depleted from trying to pour from an empty cup. We feel like our cup is empty. I have nothing to give. But we need to communicate with our partners in a way to say, hey, I want to be able to give you this. I know that you want this and I want to give it to you, but I'm going to need this in return. I'm going to need some extra sleep. And once I get the extra sleep, I'll be more loving. And that's exactly what happened. Again, increasing our intimacy, because I felt safe. I felt like it was safe for me to communicate that to him. And he actually listened and received it. And then we had a great day. So the fifth thing is encourage your PMDD partner. If your partner feels gratitude from you, if they feel like you're grateful to have their support, if they feel like they're grateful that, or you feel grateful that they're in their life or whatever, they're going to do more for you. They're going to feel more love. They're going to want to be more close to you, and the intimacy is going to grow. And be specific in your gratitude. Don't just say, I'm grateful for you. Like, think about the specific things that they do that actually make you feel like, man, they really love me. They really care about me. Like, tell them specifically what you like, and I guarantee you they're going to do more of it, because it makes them happy to serve you, to make you feel better. They can't cure you of PMDD, but one thing they can do is do those little things that they know would make you feel better. So those are the 5 ways that you can increase intimacy with your PMDD partner. Because if this is something that you're really struggling with, if this is something that you want to work on, if you need a tool, I am going to give you a free tool that I use with my clients that normally would cost money because it would be included in a session. And it is my sex and intimacy with your PMDD partner worksheet. I'm going to give this to you for free. All you have to do is email me at inlovewithpmdd@gmail.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at inlovewithpmdd and just say worksheet or sex and intimacy or intimacy and PMDD. I'm going to know what you're talking about. If you listen to this episode and you feel like this is something that other PMDD partners would greatly appreciate, that they could use these tools, please share my podcast with your PMDD friends, with your PMDD partners on your social media, because I want to be able to give these tools to help PMDD partners to have the relationship that they desire and deserve. And what I would really appreciate it to help this PMDD podcast grow, to help more PMDD champions, is to leave a 5-star review on Apple, so that once the review is shared, other people will know about it and they'll be able to get these free tools and tips and tricks and everything that kind of helps them navigate their PMDD partnership. Again, the sex and intimacy worksheet for your PMDD partner is free, no cost to you. All you have to do is drop me your email. I will send it straight over to you. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And as always, if you need anything from me, I am in my DMs 5 days a week for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours a day, talking to you, answering your questions about your PMDD partnership. So don't be shy. Come DM me on Instagram at inlovewithpmdd, or you can go to my website, www.inlovewithpmdd.com. I look forward to next week's episode. And until then, come in my DMs and we can chat. We got this.